Okay, let's talk about how I made $93.33. Today was a weird day. Well, it was a good day in the morning, weird day in the afternoon. Let's talk about it. Let's start with the first trade. Okay, so my first trade was an 8-minute trade. It was beautiful. We got this liquidity sweep. We did not get market structure shift. So it actually was not a good trade, but we have a fair value gap and we went and tapped into this fair value gap to continue down. Now, the first fair value gap in the hour was this one, which was the play of the day. It ran down since we're in the second ICT silver bullet hour. All these moments of liquidity were marked in red. All five, it was 5 of them, and they all hit. You can see the dots. All 5 liquidity points hit. So this would have been a perfect trade if you waited for. I almost honestly got back in, but my rule is no 1 trade per session. I kind of wanted to take both of these and just be done for the day. So the real trade you wanted to wait for, if you're technically like following your rules, liquidity sweep, all the things, and you're catching the big moves of the day and not scalping. We got the liquidity sweep here. Market structure shift, fair value gap. So I honestly should have technically waited and bought a sell at this fair value gap, targeting these highs. So they're scalping too. I either could have done these highs or these highs and just took a 1 to 2. Boom, that would have been a good trade. But I honestly was very confident in my trade that I took again because fair value gap tapped in and we went to this fair value gap for displacement. But this trade here is the trade you wanted. We see we got the liquidity sweep. We also got this. This was like, we have a confirmation here. We tapped in this fair value gap, went down, made another one, tapped in, went down. But it was so choppy right here, as you see. So honestly, I probably would have I would have waited for this tap into the fair value gap. Here, see how it's light? That's because the ICT silver bullet made it. It marked the liquidity sweep here. It marked the liquidity sweep here. And then, or change of character here, boom, tapped in here and took it for a 1 to 2. Obviously, that first 1 to 2 was great. If this was your trade of the day, like basically my old strategy, if I wasn't just scalping, I would have multiple take profits. I honestly just would have probably sold one here at this liquidity and then one at this liquidity. I just had 2. I would have sold one here and I would just sold one down here if I was trading my other strategy. But since we're scalping, we're taking our wins. This was a $500 $520 gain. I went up to the minis, not the micros anymore. So now I'm making $50 per tick. And I had 2 contracts because I didn't know it's still bigger than what I was trading before. I was trading 1.5 contracts technically on the micros because I was trading 15 contracts. So I was trading 2 and I wanted to be able to make 1,000 per trade. So I went up to 4 for the second trade and lost it. And it's so funny because now it's going my way. So basically, I obviously, same thing happened this morning. I didn't play this. We got to tap into a fair value gap right here. I marked it because one is before 10 o'clock. Marked it. It went up into this fair value gap. Beautiful. These are the ones that I don't mind trading because it's more confident versus this one. Okay, so on this trade that I lost, we had a fair value gap right here. Actually, I'm going to mark them all for you. So we have this baby fair value gap here that I would have loved to took. Because I usually get on 5 minutes before just to make sure I'm logged in and everything goes correct. And then here we have a value gap here. Right here to go down. And it wicked into it, so I was confident. But once we broke above this swing high, I knew it was going to stop me out. My stop loss was above these highs. And it looks like it's going down, but here, 5-minute fair value gap. I wanted to break this, which it did have a break. It did not close. I wanted a full break with a green fair value gap to maybe go up, but this is what I'm talking about when it comes to situations like this. So we ran down all day. This wasn't the usual we had last week where it was choppy, choppy, choppy. It ran down. So this could either continue down, which it could, but you see we have a 1 hour fair value gap, 1 hour fair value gap. It's also the PM session, it ran down. This could also be a very good reversal. So this is why I wasn't confident in this trade. I want to take a trade just to see how my losses are going to be because this is the 4 contract. I'm using 4 contracts now. So this is probably what I'm going to do the rest of the week and like from now on until I pass the challenge and even after I pass. to make. I want to risk 500 per trade to make 1,000. So it can either make 2,000 a day, or I can make 500 a day, or I can lose 1,000 a day. Or I'm looking at now to maybe even just trading one session, like just the morning or just the afternoon. But we have a market structure shift, which we want it to be the one that takes out all the liquidity from this morning. That would be the dream. But now that we're trading in a session, look how big these moves are. So these aren't confident for me. This is a move here. It could just tapped into back into this fair value gap. Look, we didn't even like go and like sweep this confidently. We're still trading kind of sideways. So this is one of those instances where I said I wanted a full break above this fair value gap to keep going, or a full break below this to keep going down. Once I got this wick here on this candle, I got in, I was kind of confident. And then my 1 to 2 was like the middle of this fair value gap, which it kind of did. It stopped me out and then went into the middle of fair value gap. So that was a small little scalp I was okay taking and risking only a little bit, versus this big move here is this. Instead of me taking that trade I want to take, is me waiting for it to tap the 5-minute fair value gap, which is right here on the 5-minute, and waiting for it to go to a 1 to 2. That 1 to 2 is big. That risk to reward is big. I think it wound up being me risking 700 or 800, or even, 700, 800 to make 1,400 or 1,600, which isn't bad. I don't want to risk that much after having a good gain this morning. So I took this smaller trade that I was okay risking, because my losses were smaller than my win this morning, even though I used double the contract size. So that's why I was confident in this one. This fair value gap is in the way. How about I do it on this? I'll do it on. I was okay with this risk to reward. So, and I got out. Yeah, I got out earlier actually, because I knew it was gonna sweep me out, and I think up here this would have been about 500. It would probably took my whole game this morning. So I got out a little earlier to keep some of my profit for the day. Because as long as I'm not losing, we're knocking away at this funded account. But yeah, so this is one of those weird situations where most likely this is going to be a big move of the day to keep taking out new highs. Also, why when I was trading before, and I would do the retracement. I would play this all the way down and then play the big move of the day. But this big move of the day, sometimes this might not be the big move of the day in this time, but in most cases, it's choppy like this. It'll make market structure shifts. It might go all the way down here and then go to take out the highs of the day. Like, it's just a long, like 4 or 5 hour trade, which I personally don't like. I like my 8-second trade. And even this one, if I took the sell, this was like even here. This was a 30-minute trade. Like, these are the ones you want. And then you take your first take profit here, and then next liquidity here if you're not scalping and you're doing like regular ICT liquidity sweep, and then you let the rest of your runners run. I knew it was going to bounce off this 1 hour fair value gap like it did here. It might not continue to go to new highs, but it's going to bounce off, pull back, keep going down, bounce off, keep going down. Or it could bounce off and make new highs, which I have my bias on. I have my bias on for the week. I think it's going to keep going higher, but it is time for it to go down and balance all the run we've had in January. But look how it beautifully went to my take profit after stopping me out. So, and again, I don't know if it's going to hit the original take profit from that 5-minute entry, the 5-minute fair value gap. This is the high for on the 5-minute. So this needs to go all the way to here. So hopefully it will get there. Because that's technically the strategy. You wait for the 5-minute. But them 5-minute moves are just a little too big for me, baby. I like my 1 minute. I like this beautiful. This is why I like the retracements. Because to me, people who wait for these big reversals of the day, they're not always guaranteed. This is more guaranteed. We have a market structure shift clearly to the upside. Where, if it's going to go somewhere, where's it going to go? If we're on a downtrend, as we are, we've been going down all day, it's going to go into this fair value gap. Even on the 5 minute, it's going to go to that fair value gap for sure. Now, if it wants to continue down from there, we don't know. If it wants to continue and go up for higher, we don't know. That's the thing. There are some moves on here that are like, I feel like retracements are way more guaranteed, honestly, than waiting for the moves into the PD arrays, because this could start to descend to the gates of hell. But yeah, I made money today. Morning was so beautiful. I'm so happy that I made money today, even after that loss. I loved, honestly, both of these trades. I'm happy with this trade. I got 8 minutes, $500, 8 minutes is great. Double risk, 1,000 in 8 minutes, great. Knew where it was going to this fair value gap, boom. Want this beautiful trade for the trade of the day. If you can catch those trades of the day, it's chef's kiss. But I had to detach from these because then I started trying to catch these every day, and it's not going to happen every day. And then you get upset, and you lose money. Versus these scalps, this happens every day. This happens every day. Even this happens. Was that 1 to 2? This happens every day. You see what I'm saying? This going all the way down might not happen every day. So yeah. That's it, y'all.